to the club or the ask who gonna be there. Let me know who gonna be there, because all of this determines how it's gonna make you feel. Okay? And so since you the chosen one and your presence is strong, everywhere you go, it's gonna be people that follow you. It's gonna be people that try to gang stalk you. It's gonna be people that just try to just come up to you and just say little smart, slick shit. You know what I mean? They gonna be hating on you for no reason. They don't even gotta know you. But the simple fact that you a chosen one, they gonna talk negative to you. They gonna talk toxic to you. They gonna tell you that you ain't no good. They gonna talk about your mistakes and everything. All of this is for you to be attentive to them. People want attention. And once they see the chosen one like yourself come around, it's a competition to get your attention. Okay? It's a competition to get your attention. Alright? So I just made this video to let you know, man, everywhere you go, not to be forgotten. Alright? So I hope this video resonated with you. If you like this video, make sure you comment below and let me know if you're the chosen one and you've been noticing that your presence is strong everywhere you go. And also give this video a thumbs up and share it to somebody who you think is a chosen one. It's your big brother Trans Genius. Make sure you subscribe. I'll see you in one of my next videos. Peace.
I would have never told y'all the truth. I risked my whole life to tell y'all the truth, and it's the thanks I get. It's a smack in my face. You better do your research where I went to trial at in a sundown town. They are still hanging black people out there in Barrow County. They are still flying their Confederate flag full force in Barrow County.
You see a judge do often overturn a jury's verdict, but that's happened in a local murder case.
Steve Charters told me as a juror in the murder trial of Paul Hamilton, he took those words to heart. Investigators say Hamilton shot and killed Brandon Lay, who was in a car at this intersection in October 2015. They say Hamilton confronted people in the car after his home had been burglarized. The police report indicated when someone in the car grabbed Hamilton, he shot into the vehicle, saying, quote, "That's when I shot him, deader than blank."
We found him guilty of 3 counts of aggravated assault, 1 count of felony murder.
Charters, who kept detailed jury notes, says he and the other jurors came to a unanimous verdict based on the evidence. 2 weeks later, their verdict was overturned by presiding Judge David Moat.
Are you a YouTuber? Here's how you can grow your YouTube following, even if you currently have 0, 10, 1,000, or even 10,000 subscribers. This method works for all niches. It's safe, doesn't require your password, and takes virtually no time out of your day. Here at Subscriber Studios, we've built a proprietary system that uses advanced artificial intelligence to grow your YouTube accounts, so you can get thousands of real followers every single month, like clockwork. Better yet, our account managers will handle the growth for you. It's truly hands-free. All you need to do is sit back and watch your follower count keep on rising. What's great is that you won't ever need to worry about breaking YouTube's rules, because our system doesn't require your passwords or access to your account like other methods that put your account at risk. Start growing your account today. With a 3-day free trial, you can cancel anytime, free of charge. Click the link below to find out why. More than 8,000 satisfied customers are choosing Subscriber Studios to grow their following on YouTube every single month.
I would have never told y'all the truth. I risked my whole life to tell y'all the truth, and it's the thanks I get. It's a smack in my face. You better do your research where I went to trial at in a sundown town. They are still hanging black people out there in Barrow County. They are still flying their Confederate flag full force in Barrow County.
You see a judge do often overturn a jury's verdict, but that's happened in a local murder case.
Steve Charters told me as a juror in the murder trial of Paul Hamilton, he took those words to heart. Investigators say Hamilton shot and killed Brandon Lay, who was in a car at this intersection in October 2015. They say Hamilton confronted people in the car after his home had been burglarized. The police report indicated when someone in the car grabbed Hamilton, he shot into the vehicle, saying, quote, "That's when I shot him, deader than blank."
We found him guilty of 3 counts of aggravated assault, 1 count of felony murder.
Charters, who kept detailed jury notes, says he and the other jurors came to a unanimous verdict based on the evidence. 2 weeks later, their verdict was overturned by presiding Judge David Moat.
Even every lawyer that we had on the case was scared to come visit me because it was Barrow County. You know what I'm saying? They still have a sign up that says, "No black people allowed after sundown in Barrow County."
You can see a little bit of the corruption that's happening there in Barrow County.
215 people were buried behind a Jacksonville, Mississippi jail in shallow graves with just a metal rod and a number, and their families were never notified. On top of that, some of the families to the people that were buried thought that they were still missing and complaining to police to find their missing loved ones. And now they're being told they have to pay a fee in order to have the bodies removed so they can give proper burials. None of this would have been discovered if it weren't for Dexter Wade going missing in March and his mother reporting it to the police and them telling her that they have no information. His mother never gave up looking for him, and it wasn't until October where she found out that her son was struck by a police officer's car an hour after he left when he was crossing a nearby interstate highway. He had identification on him, and police never notified his mother and allowed his body to sit in a county morgue. Turns out her son was one of the bodies that was buried in the grave. Mind you, she had been calling the police department every week asking if they had any information on her son, to which they said they had nothing. And then in July, because nobody apparently claimed his body, they decided to bury it. When a new investigator was added to the case, that's when she found out what happened to her son and where he was buried. And she was finally able to go to his gravesite. She broke down while praying, saying, "I'm so sorry this happened to you, but Mama didn't know, Mama didn't know." And they still made her pay to remove his body. In my opinion, I think the family members of those buried need to get together and file one fat lawsuit against the police department, because that is disgusting, to say the least.
Now do you see the corruption? I know it's in a different state, but it's also showing you why he doesn't respect police. Anyways, okay, so for the people who don't know, this is Rashad Jamal. We are currently inside of a time where history is changing, the world is changing, and the world is awakening. He has a very successful YouTube channel where he talks about history, esoteric knowledge. He talks about spirituality. I found him through my boyfriend. He had introduced me to him, and I started watching some of his videos, and it started to pop more up on TikTok, Instagram, all of these social media sites. He has a very powerful YouTube channel. He also has a website for the news and for YouTube channel that has 1.5 million subscribers to talk about you. Now, as I'm observing his case, and we're going to get into that, as I'm observing every single thing that they have put online about him, some of the stuff does not make any sense. This case that he has is something that I've taken an interest in, and I really want people to know about it because, it relates to history. It relates to everything that has been told to us about their whole platform being brought down. You know how many times Young Pharaoh's platform been brought down? Well, let me just show you an example of what they were doing to melanated leaders before his generation.
Have y'all noticed that the rulers of this matrix eliminate anything that they can't control? And TikTok, I know the rulers of this government is trying to control the media, so I'm going to just say this is fake for educational purposes and scripted. If they can't control it or they can't get their hands on it, they terminate you. Extraterrestrials, aliens, if you're watching this, please help. For example, let's talk about these police and CIA agents who have been on their deathbed confessing about people they have killed and covered up their deaths. Pretty sure we all know who Dr. Sebi is, but if you don't, he was the man who was known to cure arthritis, sickle cell, HIV, diabetes, you name it. He got arrested, went to jail, and died from pneumonia. A herbalist. For example, don't you forget about Martin Luther King, found guilty of assassination. Let's talk about Malcolm X.
The FBI and New York police departments are facing new calls to finally open their records related to the assassination of Malcolm X. This comes after the release of a deathbed confession of a former undercover New York police officer who admitted to being part of a broad New York police and FBI conspiracy targeting Malcolm.
Or what about the doctors who have found cancer-causing situations or even cure for cancer? Found with gunshot wounds in their chest, suicide by shooting themselves in the back of the head, or just dying of natural causes. They made laws to say that we cannot vote, we have to take literacy tests. We can't live in specific places. They have upgraded and created these amendments to seem ethical. But the same situations keep happening. These laws in the original Constitution and everything that plays a part with that was never meant for us. Therefore, it can never work for people of color. Black Panther activist Angela Davis was wrongfully convicted of murder and the FBI was looking for her. Like I said, creating laws so they can take you. She ends up beating the case. Before the FBI to even accuse these things of her and legally try to kidnap her, that shows that they can do whatever they want. It's the same thing with Assata Shakur. And let's just listen to her words.
The FBI, with the help of local police agencies, systematically sent false accusations and fake news articles to the press, accusing me and other activists of crimes we did not commit.
This happened 20 plus 30 years ago and they still want her head.
National and local police agencies created a situation where, based on their false accusations against me, any police officer could shoot me on sight.
Now the things that are...
Did you hear that? Any police officer could shoot her on sight. Do you see how they use their laws, these things that they have created to make their system work for them, to keep their policies, to keep their matrix running? Okay, that's just all I wanted to, I really just wanted to show y'all that part, because what Assata Shakur said, that really just like opened my eyes to the corruption. They will do whatever it is necessary to keep their system going, whatever is necessary. Now with his case, I want you to hear the details of this case, and I want you to know and see where he's coming from. This is just from his point of view.
Because Rashad Jamal is locked up right now. You know what I'm saying? In Barrow County. Now you tell me what black activists saying the Confederate flag, white supremacy, it's our land, the land comes back to the Aboriginal beings. How was I ever going to get a fair trial in that county? Let's be real here.
And that seems to be the reason why he was sent to that specific jail. And y'all do know what happened in all of the stuff that has happened in Georgia, all of the sundown towns that's there, all of his history there. This is Anna. She wrote the story about Rashad Jamal. And on my follower and on my prophet with a huge following has been convicted of child abuse. And you look up his name, they're saying that he is an occult leader. He is been accused of, this is just all of this. This is just when you look up his name. The occult leader, he's a new age prophet, is Rashad Jamal, Barrow County, all types of stuff. This is what you will see. This is the case that we're currently talking about. Move. Don't nobody move. He was arrested May 4th, 2022. He was arrested. Look at this. This is all the same stuff that they say about every single political person. He's basically going to explain from jail, him talking on the phone on a video, his side of the story. So I want y'all to hear about it, okay?
How was I ever going to get a fair trial in that county? Let's be real here. Then in my trial, the detective got on the stand and admitted blatantly to the judge. My lawyer asked the detective, why did you send the U.S. Marshals after my client without a proper investigation? He said, once I seen the videos that he posted on social media, I believed that he would not come in and speak with us, so I put out a warrant for his arrest, and then I enlisted the U.S. Marshals. Wow. So because of what I stand for on social, they gave you the right to not investigate me about these sexual allegations and just send the U.S. Marshals after me? That's how I was able to figure out. I'm like, I knew I wasn't crazy. I knew I wasn't tripping. All these years, all these goddesses I've been with, not one of them ever alleged that I touched their child. Then all of a sudden I become this famous black activist, and I'm dealing with this bitter baby mama. Now all of a sudden I done touched somebody's child at 33 plus years old. 33 years old, now I decide to be a pedophile, now I decide to be a tester cheater, man. Who you fooling, man? Who you fooling, man? They did the same shit to Dr. York. My whole trial was a fucking mockery, man. Everybody got caught up that line, man. Nothing but racism in this show, man. And the jury still took 8 hours to deliberate. I had 2 counts, which was supposed to be 1 count anyway. She contradicted herself, so they made it 2 counts. It should have been 1 count. A lot of y'all don't know how the criminal justice system works. It should have been 1 count. They made it 2 counts purposely. I beat 1 count. y'all, because of who I am. We taking him out. We taking him down. See what I'm saying? Taking him down. And then, once they say guilty, I got sentenced right there on the spot. Anybody know about the law? Okay, so you normally go back for sentencing 2-3 weeks later. They sentence me the same day. Throw the book at me. Give me 16 years, 20 years probation. I ain't never even been to prison. I ain't got shit on my background. This ain't violent. Y'all got motherfuckers with real heinous cases under this statute. You give me 16 years, 20 years probation like I was like, this shit on my background. So, but how you over-sentence me? How you offer me 5 years, but then in sentencing you give me damn near 20 years? Like, come on, man. Who can't see through that? Did you over-sentence me? It's bad enough you found me guilty on some shit I did not do. Did you over-sentence me? Come on, man. Who can't see through that? What about when I was in trial, how the district attorney, his father, was harassing my mom and my wife and my father-in-law and my sister, parked behind their car every day at trial? What about the fact they was harassing a few people that did come to my trial? The guys and guys that did come, they was getting harassed. They kicked one of the guys out of trial. He didn't do shit. All the man said was free Rashad on Facebook. He didn't say nothing aggressive, nothing crazy. They kicked him out of trial. How that happen? Racism.
You know, if y'all don't know, I was at the hearing from Monday to Wednesday before I got kicked out. I was at the courtroom. You know, I saw all in there. He was in the sundown time. He was in the court, and he was on floor 3, courtroom 3. If y'all don't know, 33 is a master number. 33 is the highest Freemason number. 33 is the number. Atlanta is the 33rd parallel. Where we at is the 33rd parallel. So all type of synchronicities going on with this. We don't know if this was a gematria attack. We don't know if this was a divine attack. But the official sentence was he was sentenced for 16 years. I got kicked out on Wednesday because on Monday before the trial even started, I posted a picture. I took a picture of just the courtroom. I posted a picture of just the courtroom, and on Wednesday, by the time Wednesday came, they found out that, you know, it was me that did it. I had to tell them because how it happened. I just had to tell them. And then, you know, for the Monday that I was there and for the Wednesday that I was there, I heard enough information to I was confident. Even though I got kicked out Wednesday, I was confident that he was going to be free. The baby mama had no evidence whatsoever that the baby mama and the daughter that I've heard, they evidence didn't line up. Their evidence didn't match up. Their evidence didn't make no sense. The craziest thing I wanted to tell y'all about this case, right, that I've heard when I was there, they had a witness who worked for the police dispatch office, right? They had a witness who worked for the police dispatch office. So like when people call 911, they be like, 911, how can I help you type shit. So she came and she said, I will tell the truth, the full honest truth, so help me God. So she told the truth. She said, this is exactly her words. She said, well, she said the baby mama called basically because it was two cases. It was a case of molestation and then of the baby mama daughter, and it was a case of, you know, of him taking his son type shit, right? When the baby mama had called, right, she didn't say nothing about the molestation call. She just said something about his son that he's so-called kidnapped. So the lady said there is no audio recording of anybody saying anything of calling in no molestation call. There is no evidence of anybody saying anything in audio about anything talking about molestation. But for some reason, it ended up in the police report. How is that possible? So if there's no audio evidence of somebody talking about molestation, why is it in the police report? Which one of these dirty ass cops put that in there?
Now I'm going to show you the situation when she tried to call the police on him for kidnapping his son. This is him telling you how the case started from jail.
So then she get mad, she get jealous and put a case on me. Y'all forgot how the case started. Her daughter was supposed to be the victim. Never ever said I molested her ever. I was out that house for a whole year damn near. Then one day my baby mama said, hey, you want to see your son? I heard your mom in town. Come pick him up. Of course I want to see my son. You ain't let me see my son in a whole year. Of course. Me, my mom, my wife, my daughter-in-law, Lele, we go pick my son up. We supposed to pick my son up. We get back to Atlanta. My baby mama want to start an argument because she hears my son call my wife mommy kid. She said, if you don't bring him back, I'm going to call the police and say you kidnapped him. I said, man, it's my son too. You can't just call the police and say I kidnapped him because I don't want to bring him back today. I gave you $2,000. I had to give her $2,000. The deal was that I was supposed to keep my son for a whole week. For Mother's Day, we get back, man. You feel me? Now we back at the house. And you talking about, because you hear him calling my wife mommy kid, which she is his mom too. So he wasn't wrong for calling her mommy kid. But my baby mama ain't like that. So you gonna bring him back? I mean, I ain't bringing back shit. You gonna get him back in a week. I just gave your ass all that money for child support. I ain't got to see him. Let me spend some time with him. I only got a week. You got shit. You can have him a whole year straight. I'm gonna bring him back in a week. That's what any father father would say they want to spend time with their child. And the sad thing about this shit is now we recorded this shit and went live about this shit. This shit is still on YouTube when I picked them up and had to bring them back.
Now I'm gonna show you the video that he's talking about.
Even the way how they said on the thing, it happened May 3rd, and mom ain't get there to the fucking...
To
the 4th.
She got there the same day we got Zaza. May 4th. Are you serious?
They literally didn't lie. Like, if y'all look at the incident report, it's like 9 lies in the incident report. So me, I done fought attempt murders before, real cases. Like, ain't no judge gonna sign off on no shit that's like all over the place like that. So we were like, no, what judge even signed off on the warrant? And what detective picked it up? Because he ain't doing an investigation over here. You ain't come over here to match up these dates. Okay, well, if they said this happened this day, let's go talk to Mr. White and his family and see what they got. And you will see a whole different picture. And it ain't hard to see.
No.
You gonna see right while the crime. Right away she said that you never even asked about the son. You was only trying to get back with her. Let's go to May 4th, y'all. This May 4th. There she go right there, Darshell Smith. May 4th. $2,000 for child support for Zaza. May 4th, 4:24 p.m. The agreement was you can see your son for a week. When I talked to her that day, I said, damn, why you even let me see my son? Because you don't want to be with me. You don't want to be no family. You f*** your family up. How the f*** is you going to say I f*** my family up? I ain't got to be with you.
So that's proof of the cash app that he sent in accordance to him seeing his son.
Had to bring them back. Up to this point, wasn't no child molestation allegation ever said, y'all. Y'all know the first time a child molestation allegation came was the next day when we brought him back and dropped him off at the police station. Because see, the plan was...
Yo, I'm not doing the gameplay at the moment, Plum. I'm actually just covering a few things that's important to, things that people need to put on their mind. If you're not one of those people that you should put this on your mind, which everybody should be putting this on their mind, well, you can go then, because obviously you must be like, if you're not anti-racist, then you're racist, bro. So you can go, or sis, or whoever you may be. And that's how I feel. I ain't here for clout. I'm here for a much different reason than every other streamer. I don't give a fuck about money. Honestly, I mean, I could use something to support my family from the Twitch platform or whatever. But I really give no fucks about what Mr. Beast give a fuck about, Elon Musk, the Rothschilds, and every other wealthy person on earth. Fuck them all, dog. I'm doing this. Listen to what's being said. Listen to the content of the situation while I vibe. Look at my bad bitch Harley Quinn I just got. You know what I'm saying? Vibing with me and shit. Look at my bad bitch. Check her out. If or you can just step off and wait till some content pop up later on, bruh. I really don't care. I got some past broadcasts. People gonna check out my past broadcasts. I'm gonna get caught on too. It's no fucking thing, man. And I mean that with all respect. But if you're not anti-racist, then I mean that with all disrespect. And it's fuck you. It's really fuck you. Seriously.
What she about? Well, he ain't gonna want to bring her back because he anti-police, which I am. I'm anti-police. I ain't never heard no police officer. If a police officer try to hurt me, I'm gonna defend myself. You ain't gonna kill me for no reason. You know what I'm saying? We dropped him off. Then that's when, then all of a sudden now I've molested your daughter too. Who can't see through that? If this child was molested, she would have said that when I left the house. When I went to pick up the same child that molested, I molested her, she came outside and ran up to me, gave me a hug, her and her brother, and then asked, could they go with their little brothers outside?
To May 6th of 2021, bitch, she ain't been there in over a year.
But hold on, it gets better, y'all. It gets better. This is another thing y'all went over. Then when I got locked up, my baby mama said that Zaza, the son that I raised for 3 years straight, was there from the moment she was pregnant, every day, rubbed her stomach, rubbed her feet, sat in the hospital with her after she had him, cut the umbilical cord. She's going through pregnancy. I ain't missed a day. I'm there every second. Now she come out and say, he ain't my son. He ain't my son. He's supposed to be some other dude's son named Will. See, that's the part y'all don't know. When I said out there I lost my son, y'all thought I was saying he died. No, what I'm saying is now she's also saying that he's not my son. So not only did you put a child molestation case on me, but you had me take care of a child for 3 years straight. I never got a DNA test because I trusted her. And now on top of that, now that I'm in jail with this sentence, now I find out that he's not my son too, and y'all still gonna support that?
Let's see how much she owns.
Wow. That's really how...
The math ain't math. And from what I'm hearing, not just me looking at him, from him being just a spiritual leader, a spiritual influencer, a person who has all of these, who has so much success when it comes down to our awakened community. I'm just looking at him as a person and what he's going through in his experiences. and from what he's saying. I'm just looking at it from that. This whole time, when he gave $2,000, paying child support, trying to see his son, was there through the whole pregnancy, ended up didn't want to be with her anymore, and she ends up saying that he kidnapped her, and then after the day after, she puts in a report that he touched her child, and then all of that energy that you put into these court cases, now you want to say that he's not his child? Deal with that kidnapping situation that you called on him personally, as a just looking at him as a person and seeing what he's been through and seeing the characteristics of the timelines and the mixed up dates and the mixed up everything. The math ain't mathing, but they still found him guilty. When Arcade said, it doesn't even say, there's no audio or phone call that says he touched her child. She initially called to talk about the kidnap. Now these police officers say, hey, you should throw in that he touched. Come on now. I'm just saying the math ain't mathing. Me not even looking at him as, with all of these followers and stuff like that. I'm just looking at him as a person and looking at this case, because I like to do my investigation sometimes. Part of me wanted to be a lawyer, but I'm working on it.
I just want to get this shit off my chest. I'm tired of these false narratives being painted. And the mother of my child, did you know that she had 2 open cases in Barrow County for felony theft? You 40 years old and catching cases with your daughter. She had these open cases with her daughter, her oldest daughter. Darshell Smith had 2 open cases in Barrow County with her oldest daughter, Darashell. The trial, the same day my trial started, my lawyer pointed that out. She said, aren't you supposed to be in trial today? Because Darshell Smith, you and your daughter who are both a witness today on this case for my client, Rashad Jamal White. Yes? Okay. And why wasn't she in trial today? Because the DA made a deal with her. Look, you go ahead and come in and testify against him. We gonna drop your child support, man. This was going on in real life time. Y'all look that shit up. While y'all wanna look up my name, what you mean? You know how many defense cases Darshell Smith that had opened up on her name? While y'all wanna give her all this clout and say, oh, he touched her daughter, he did that, he deserved. Come on, man, y'all crazy out there. Feel me?
And now that he's in jail, he's basically gonna tell you all the things that he's been through and experienced being in jail.
But do you know how I've been treated in jail? I've been in solitary confinement going on 2 years straight. Ain't none of y'all got nothing to say about that. You got other people here with way worse than such allegations. So even if you were somebody out there that felt that believed that I did this, even though I didn't, you telling me it's okay for me to be treated like this? To be treated like this? And then I've been in Jackson State Prison, diagnostic since August 22nd, 5 months straight. I'm sitting in a cold cell with freezing water, freezing cell. Ain't been able to wash my ass since December. I deserve to get treated like that. Y'all ain't got nothing.
I ain't gonna lie. I believe that my man is innocent. But at the same time, if he was guilty, I don't give a fuck if he took his pinky finger and touched that little boy butthole. You deserve every millisecond of solitary confinement, you bastard son of a bitch. If you really did it. If you did anything even close to that. You know what I'm saying? You deserve that and more. You stay your ass in there for the rest of your life in a black hole, bitch. That's what you deserve it, motherfucker. But if you ain't do that shit, man, then he man don't deserve no motherfucking 2 years in no goddamn solitary confinement for something that you ain't do. And that's just for any and everybody, man. I don't give a fuck what your race is. And that's the difference between a black person and a white person. What's right is right and what's wrong is wrong, man. See, white people do wrong shit because they can. Black people do wrong shit to survive. I had a dog, please, my dog.
Hey, ain't no petitions taking place out there on my behalf or nothing. You wouldn't treat a dog like this. If I treated my dog similar like the way I'm being treated, I'm in isolation, but I deserve to have a warm shower in a warm room. It's cold outside. Why is it freezing cold in my cell? A freezing cold shower. And it's crazy because I'm still dropping lectures, still releasing music from jail over this phone. And it's crazy because her daughter, that she's alleged I molested, her fucking daughter, her daughter's father, which is her ex-husband, she alleged that he did the same thing to one of her other daughters. My lawyer asked about it in the trial. Isn't it true that your ex-husband, you alleged that he sexually molested one of your daughters too? Guess what Darshell say? That ain't none of your business what me and my husband, ex-husband did. She didn't say no. She didn't say no. If it wasn't true, she would have said no. I've never put a sex tape on me on my ex-husband. She said it ain't your did. She did to her ex-husband and she did it to the boyfriend right before me. He locked up right now in sexual allegations. So you telling me everybody that deal with you just molested your child, y'all Why wasn't he at trial? If you really believe that I touched your daughter, why the fuck wasn't you at trial? Wasn't none of my baby mama family in trial? Now her aunties, her cousins, the victim's daddy, and the victim's daddy come pick his daughter up every motherfucking weekend. Why wasn't he in trial? See, that's the part y'all don't know, because motherfucking I ain't said nothing about it publicly. I've been just letting y'all talk y'all shit. Why wasn't he in trial? Because if that was my fucking daughter, first off, I'm not gonna be in trial. I ain't putting no police on you. I'm gonna catch up with you in the streets. When I go to trial, it's gonna be for going across your fucking head for touching my child. And I can live with that. But if I do put the police on you, I bet I'm at least be in trial. I want to look in your fucking eyes. He wasn't in trial because I was hoping he was. I wanted to look in his eyes. So I feel like, man, Tyrone, you know fucking how Darshell is. She put the police on your fucking ass. That's why you divorced. He wasn't even there, y'all. So what does that tell you? He wasn't even there. You know, only my family was there. Come on, man. And y'all gonna side with Darshell? This woman, she just literally went on her way to take down a black activist, a black revolutionary. She didn't side with these white folks, man. And y'all gonna support her? Why ain't nobody wrote Freedom of Information Act and trying to get the transcripts y'all self? That's all public information. You look at the trial, you gonna see there's no evidence to support.
Freedom of Information Act. Let me look it up. Give me a second. Basic functions of Freedom of Information Act is your informed citizens, vital and functioning democracy. Okay, so I'm trying to figure out how we can get the case information in the transcript. It says you have to create a request, but then it also says that you have to search for an agency. And it's got like 426 results. And I'm just like, what do I pick? Yeah, I'm just trying to figure it out because you can't find his case anywhere if you just look it up. You gotta request it. I don't even know how to do that. The truth will eventually come out regardless. Now, y'all have heard. So let me add this up, right? So the beginning of the story goes to where on May 4th, when he paid her, he went to go see, she said that you can come see your son, and I know that your mother's there, so you can bring your son for a week for Mother's Day, and y'all can spend time with Zaza. And then when he gets there, he ends up, getting the child, and then all the other kids run outside and they asked, can they come with Zaza? And he says no. He leaves, he drives, she calls to check in to make sure to see if, they made it there, and then she hears in the background that Zaza says, why you letting my son call that girl mommy? Bring him back. And he was like, no, I just paid $2,000. And then she says, I'm gonna call the police on you and say that you kidnapped my son. So that's already a lie, right? She lied on that, so that's lie number one. She told the police officer that she got her dates mixed up when it came down to speaking it on the trial. That's lie number two. Okay, he gets on the phone with the cop, and the cop tells him, because you're not married to her and you don't have it in the court dates finalized, that's not your son. So you have to bring him back. So he brought the child back to the police station. The next day when he gets home, there is a warrant out for his arrest for the molestation of her child. And he has not been at that house for a year. So in retaliation for what she just did, she also put another case out on him, right? Okay, he hasn't been at that house for a year, so the child has been quiet for an entire year. We have evidence that I've shown you with our case basically saying when he was there listening to the trial, nothing made sense. Nothing was adding up, which is the same thing that Rashad Jamal was saying. So I'm not even looking at him as a speaker. I'm looking at him as a person and trying to add up the facts. If I can add all of this up, her family wasn't there. The victim's dad wasn't there. Nobody is supporting her through this situation. There's obviously something going on. Certain things you got to make sure you don't say. Yeah, it's just proven, but it doesn't really make sense because how he got convicted. So if y'all think that she told a lie about that situation, they're also saying that she mixing up her story. That's lie number 3. She also said that that's not his son. That's lie number 4. I don't get how a judge could not see any of the buffoonery. But you see, we gave examples. We've shown the proof that this is in Barrow County. This is where Forsyth County is also.
Sundown town mean if you black and you outside at nighttime, they gonna kill you, hang you, or burn you alive, or peel your skin off, which is called lynching, and then you die from having no skin. Some people survive that, and they call them all types of names like a ghoul or a zombie, and they be black people, but you can't see that they were ever black if they survive a lynching. This is the type of town that they sent him to in Georgia for the trial, but it originated in a place that wasn't a sundown town. All of this because he's a black revolutionary. I can't wait to bust this down for y'all on YouTube.
Also, where they eliminated an entire melanated community. Georgia is known for a whole lot of different history. We can talk about the underground city, the melanated underground city that's there too. This situation with Rashad Jamal and just hearing his story and what he has said over from a jail phone. I'm looking at it from just him being a person and looking at his situation, because I see a lot of people who do terrible stuff, you know, to people, and it's not cool. So I hope this just gave y'all some insight on his perspective. I would like to see the transcripts and the stuff that we're supposed to know about the case, the court documents, the transcripts. I want to see all of that. So, you know, I'm just sharing this story with y'all because it's just a prime example of somebody who speaks out, and then when you get into this system and you really get into their system, they pick on you and they corrupt your trials and they corrupt your people who work for you and all types of stuff. He posted this video a couple of days ago, and then Fox News put up another post basically attaching his name to another situation because people watch his videos. He's responsible for people going missing. Missouri police search for 6 missing people who follow the so-called social media prophet Audrey Conklin. This is in Missouri, January 8, 2024. Missouri police says a group of 6 people, including 2 young children who follow a popular online spirituality influence, disappeared in St. Louis. What does that have to do with Rashad Jamal? Just because they watch their video. So anybody who listens to Cardi B's music, just because they listen to Cardi B music, the Cardi B name should be attached to the person who's been arrested. It's so many birds, y'all. It's so many birds sitting by my window. What the hell? Anyways, y'all, do you see how many times they have tried to slander this man's name online? So many articles. Rashad Jamal, spiritual court member. Look, they say a self-proclaimed prophet builds a spiritual cult online. A spiritual cult. Now they're saying his followers are going missing. His followers are doing these horrible crimes. He has a spiritual cult. Do you see the propaganda that they're trying to put on this man's name? They did the same thing with young Pharaoh. The exact same thing. Look at all these dang on ads. Move. Look at this. It says police also discover an altar, items wrapped in copper, and other odd findings that led to them believing that the adults were fully living in this cult. Look at them sitting outside. You know you've entered an interesting time to be alive for you to be sitting outside and meditating on.
I don't even watch Rashad Jamal. I am not no damn cultist. I'm not even religious. I believe in the Most High Divine Creator Source of righteous Creator Source of all beings and things in existence and non-existence of all dimensions. I put science and literacy on the name of God. I'm not a cultist. I just believe in God. I supremely believe in God. I got stuff wrapped in copper. I meditate like this. I meditate like that. When did this become illegal though? If they make this illegal, I'm going to start using this for what I really know how to use it for. Objects wrapped in copper. It's a cult.
Under the sun, and that's a problem. That's you being in a cult. Look at this. They're sitting outside trying to meditate. What about that is being in a cult? So people can't meditate in the sun? Neighbors saw this group practicing daily meditations or worship in the backyard. Sometimes they were clothed and sometimes they were like, what does it mean? The investigation revealed that the group had become a part of a spiritual cult and they followed the teachings of Rashad Jamal. So them sitting outside, that has something to do with it in a cult. They can't meditate outside. That shit doesn't even make sense, y'all. When you see when stuff don't make sense, stuff don't make sense. Stop trying to actually believe these orchestrators of this matrix. They steady trying to tie this man's name to every single thing that happens to people. I am God. Look at this. They're still trying to do mother of missing. It's just missing. What does that have to do with Rashad Rashad Jamal. Just because they're meditating, now they're in his cult that he allegedly has. He doesn't have a cult. The neighbors were taking pictures of them sitting outside meditating. And y'all don't think that there's no corruptions inside of his court case? I'm gonna go ahead and get up out of here. I'm gonna let y'all decide. I'm not telling y'all whatever decision that you decide to feel about him. I'm just looking at him as an actual person. A person. Regardless of what following he has, regardless of what success that he has as a person. All of this slander, that stuff don't even make sense. So I love y'all. Thank y'all for watching this video with me. I hope y'all have a good rest of y'all day. If y'all want to stay updated on everything, go to his.
That's real Kaya on YouTube right there. She covers everything that's about consciousness. I mean everything about black people, our people, consciousness, superpowers, all types of stuff. But I have a message. And I'm 43 minutes in, so I got to get this message in. The message is, notice how childish and immature the leaders of our world really are. Because the first thing they do is they pick a person that's good. They always pick a good person. And then the next thing that they do is they take that good person and they say that they're doing the same shit that the government evil ass is doing. Like a little kid when you in elementary school and the bully punched the shit out you, and then you turn around and punch the shit out the bully, but the bully was looking at the front of the class to see who was watching. You see, you gotta know who the fuck is watching when you're demonic. But when you in the light, when you are the light, you always the one getting seen. You see? The darkness always got to see who got their eyes. Who got them eyes? Who got eyes? Right? So the bully in the back, he watching the teacher and everybody else to see who can see. Now he picked the nigga he hate the most to sit next to, so he could punch the shit out of you right in the middle of the class. Now as soon as the teacher turned around, he got his lick in. And then that teacher turned around, he ain't writing on the board no more. But he didn't punch the shit out of you out of nowhere. Now the teacher turned around and see you turned around, knocking his motherfucking teeth out. You know what I'm saying? So now you going to the motherfucking detention center. Cause you done knocked 4-5 teeth out this motherfucker mouth. And the teacher ain't see him do it. You can say he hit you first, but ain't nobody else seen it. Cause that's how slick these dark motherfuckers gotta be. They cannot be seen. They can't be seen. They sneaky like that, right? So now you ain't sitting in a detention center across town waiting for your peoples to come get you if you got some peoples. If you ain't got no peoples, or you got some fucked up peoples like I had, mama ain't coming to get you, papa ain't coming to get you, uncle ain't nobody, you just gonna be in that bitch all week, all weekend, till a trial or some shit and the government decide what they do with you. That's how it be for real. But what is that saying though? That these dark, manipulative, high-powered motherfuckers, yeah, they might be a little smart because of the system that they were left behind to run shit. That mean they not smart. They system that they got running for them is smart. But the people running this system is nothing to fear. They dumb as shit. They so dumb, they do immature, dumbass shit that doesn't make sense. Okay, I see R. Kelly all fucked up. Okay, I see like it's a whole lot around Bill Cosby we don't know. Right? The pudding pop. What is the pudding pop? I want to know what the pudding pop was for Bill, but I'm not saying he did it or he didn't do it. All I'm saying is they know what right people to target. But when it's this person they targeting and they don't got nothing on this guy. You got nothing on this guy. They gonna frame this man for some shit that Epstein be on, like they be on, the government, the New World Order, the motherfuckers that run shit, right? The whole world. That's the shit they be on. Kidnapping kids. Touching on kids. Sexual rituals and shit. with little kids and shit. That's what the government do. That's what the police do. Yeah. The police make sure they get kidnapped, and the government, they the ones that do the perverted shit. So when you finally got somebody like a next Malcolm X or another Martin Luther or whatever you want to call it, a chosen one that reaches that level, they gonna say that this person is doing the same thing they doing when this person is not. Just like a kid in the back of a classroom that's a bully. These motherfuckers childish, man. You gotta look through this shit. Really assess this shit. If you gonna act like this, if you're not that smart to manipulate your system that's keeping you going, and be a little bit smarter, they using brute force at this point. It's brute force. It's back to the old days with the shit. Motherfuckers don't get this shit together, they gonna be whipping us with bull whips. Again, we're gonna be in fields. We're gonna be in factories this time, getting whipped with bull whips. In factories this time. We're gonna be slaves again. Motherfuckers better get this shit together. We got enough of us out here doing the worst things that we can do to each other. The next step, they gonna launch martial law on our dumb ass, and the whole country gonna have to fight the military. They gonna be killing people 60 and 50-year-olds, and basically if you 30, you a slave. If you over 30, you dead. If you under 30, you a slave. If you over 30, you dead. That's what martial law is. I'm just telling you the real shit. That's martial law. I'm gonna give you an example. I gotta hurry up and do my breakdown, right? Coming, brother.
Dog during an arrest in Brisbane last year. The state government announced the proposed legislation today. It's in part due to the stabbing of a police dog during an arrest in Brisbane last year. Recent outages have shown
I'm not even gonna show that. I could, but I'm not. It's not enough for me. But I
The government announced the proposed...
a newscast, a New York Post newscast from 2 years ago where this, I think her name, it's an Asian lady, I don't know. And pretty much she was doing a newscast on what you had heard in the background in the beginning. And then out of nowhere came a satanic ritual clip. And there were a bunch of like Twitter things and just a bunch of stuff to prove that that was real. That really happened like that.
Is it nice to release your inner grouch?
Oh, it's fantastic. In my family, I have two phrases that the whole family knows. The first one is, uh-oh, Dad is...
You get into the things that you win.
Don't ever believe first.
How proud are your parents of you right now, though?
My mom called me yesterday and asked me, was I in? What is the Illuminati? That's what she asked me.
Oh my God. She was like, my son's in hip hop. He would
No, she was like, she was so torn up, man. She was like, what are they talking about? What is that? And because I have a relationship with Kanye,
right.
And you know she goes to church, so people just bringing her, you know, like bringing her stuff. And so
he with Kanye.
She was texting me, and I was asleep, and I was like, you know, she was like, yeah, what's this about? Something about. So I don't even know what it is, right? And so I said, Mom, don't believe everything you read. And she came in with some more stuff, and I was getting like frustrated, like, what are you doing? Because I called her, you know, and I didn't even text her, like, what are you know? I said, Mom, like, I said one thing about me. I know the reason, you know, the place that I am right now, I know the reason behind it is one, because I work hard, and two, I pray even harder. You feel me? And so with me on my off days, which I don't really take off days, I have off days, I'm constantly in the studio. My turnaround on features is much different from another artist because I travel with the studio. I travel with the engineer. I travel with the necessities that I need to get.
Alright, so I played that video because I want it to be known that there are famous people, well, there might not be anymore, but there were at a point in time famous people who didn't know anything about secret societies, controlling social media, controlling anything in society at all. There were celebrities who were just celebrities. They had no idea about the workings in the background and stuff like that. And it really all depends on your level in that system. So I played that to basically not discourage anybody in the future. My videos, they blow up, right? Like, anybody watching, I don't want you to be discouraged to be a big person in the world because of the manipulation out there. Because like you just heard, there's people who didn't know anything about it and became successful just living their life, right? But this next video is going, on a literary sense, is going to expose a lot of shit.
You ever been there? It says for training purposes.
I was there once for training purposes.
How long of a period of time?
12 hours.
Physically?
Yes. Someone was teaching me certain energies and how to manipulate them and how to...
Did you know that the headquarters of the Illuminati are supposedly hidden within the Denver International Airport? The conspiracy runs deep. Literally, the headquarters are believed to be hidden deep underground in a secret bunker beneath the terminals. Believers of these creative conjectures point to a few specific pieces of evidence. For one, the airport's construction came in $2 billion over budget and was mired in what critics say was a suspicious level of secrecy. Then, there's a time capsule kept in the airport set to be opened in 2094. It's emblazoned with an icon of a Masonic square and compass, which is associated with the Freemasons and, by extension, the Illuminati. And there are plaques stating that the Denver International Airport was funded by the New World Airport Commission, which sounds awfully close to New World Order, which is the center of the Illuminati's reported goals, an authoritarian government that controls, well, everything. Hi, I'm Justin Dodd. Welcome to a special bonus episode of The List Show from my living room. Today we're talking about the ever-mysterious organization that is supposedly pulling all of society's strings, the Illuminati. But before we continue, I'm just going to need all of you to sign this NDA real quick in blood. Pretty standard stuff. I'll just grab it.
Okay, all jokes aside, it's right there in plain sight. Who the fuck are they and what's their secret? Go look it up. Secret Society. When you really look at it, you gotta ask yourself, what really are they? Secret Society. You see a Masonic symbol. You see a scale, a measurement tool, some numbers. You see that on people's cars. You see Masonic symbols on buildings. You're never allowed to go in. What is a secret society? Well, let's break down the meaning in the word. A society, obviously, could be millions of people. A society could be millions of people. The question is, what are these millions of people keeping secret? A society is millions of people together. A bunch of moving parts. We live in a society, so we should know what society means. What is a secret? And then go back and look at the beginning of my video. Because that was a secret society controlling that man's life. And they control your life too. You just think you got control. You only doing what some rich, powerful motherfucker wants you to do right now. 98% of the world and 98% of all the people in the world, that means yes, you are doing what trillionaires want you to do right now. That would mean that you will never see $1 trillion. You need to make a change. Make a fucking change. What if you were doing the opposite of what you are doing right now? What would that be? Probably doing something. Because you ain't doing shit. You're literally doing the same. They want you to be doing what you're doing right now. That's 98% of society.
Meet the chain in the world with over 40,000 restaurants spread over 120 countries. By this point, the Golden Arches are an inescapable sight wherever you go, and McDonald's has sold well over 300 billion hamburgers. But the original McDonald brothers who started the business had their company all but stolen from them, because what began as a single drive-in restaurant was soon transformed into a global fast food empire because of an unrelenting milkshake machine salesman. And even though it may appear to be a simple burger business from the outside, McDonald's secretly dominates an entirely different industry completely unrelated to selling fast food. At times, McDonald's is an inspiring story of an entrepreneur defying all the odds and building an empire. But at the same time, it's a story of betrayal, fraud, and countless scandals. At one point, McDonald's even came face to face with the Italian mafia. Honestly, this is a crazy story. So sit back and relax as we journey through the insane history.
That's all you need to know. It started with two motherfuckers that don't even have nothing to do with what it is today. And it's in every fucking place on the planet. McDonald's, bitch. What the fuck happened, bitch? Secret society. The fuck? There's your answer. I mean, what the fuck, bruh? Don't be a fucking retard. Even our words, man, our words have been manipulated. Our words are fucked up. You get up and you say mourning, which means death. You're literally suffering, you're crying because someone died. That's what mourning is. In the beginning of the day, you say morning, good morning. You saying good sadness. You're going to mourn good. You're going to mourn the death of those who've died while you were asleep. Good. You're going to do it good. Because every few seconds or moments, believe it or not, someone on earth is dying. Probably right now. And you get up every day and you say, good morning. Those are not, the language is a curse. It creates reality. The language creates reality. It's a curse. There are so many words. Blessing. To be, B-E. What does B-E mean? How you spell blessing? B-L-E, right? But what is B? The letter B, and then you put an E next to it, it makes the same sound. So be less. Be less. Be less. Be less. Be less you. Be less you. No, no. Be more you. Be more you. Be more you. So many words that are a curse. And they tell you not to say shit. But then say morning every day. Say morning every day when you start your fucking day. You putting your day in a vibration of death. That which is dead. You on the energy of what is dead. Every day. Morning. Soon as you get up. You're lowering your vibration when you do that. Your words make your reality. Just start looking at the words. Who do you have to be true to? The letter U, there's no truth without you. There's no truth without you. You gotta spell truth with a U. You gotta be true to yourself. That's the word is a message in itself. Truth. The U is right in the middle. You gotta be true to yourself. Then it won't be hard to tell another person the truth. You won't give a fuck. Why you give a fuck at that point? I'm real with me. I could be real with you.
Mobile games are going...
In 1957, when McDonald's was doubling the number of restaurants it opened every year, a little-known Florida startup called Instaburger was on the brink of bankruptcy and fighting to keep its doors open. However, this failing business would later become the global fast food empire Burger King, making tens of billions of dollars a year and operating in over 100 countries around the world.
The what was one big hamburger.
The truth of how they achieved this is crazy and involves smashing up their own equipment with an axe. But whilst Burger King is undeniably an inspiring underdog entrepreneurial success story, there's also a dark twist, because the secret to Burger King's success was stolen.
Why is that an occurring fucking thing? Just some guys start a burger shop, give it a cool name. Next thing you know, they don't own it no more. And that same business is global, bitch. It's on every country on the earth, bitch. Making billions of dollars. Stolen. Burger King, stolen. McDonald's, stolen. Secret society. A society is millions of people. What they doing? Keeping secrets.
Most Americans want to believe that the United States is the gold standard of clean food. But that belief may not hold up to scrutiny. From unsanitary practices in mass production to the addition of dangerous chemicals, countries have good reason to give the side eye to imported foods claiming to be USDA approved. That's right, this week we're talking about American foods that have been banned by other countries. But before we get started, be sure to subscribe to the Weird History Food channel. Then leave a comment and tell us what other world food facts you would like to know more about. Now let's see how wrong the rest of the world really is. Since the dawn of Skittles, there have been rumors about the dangers of eating them. Every one of us heard at least one classmate claim that the red ones make you sterile, and the yellow ones, they give you cancer. Turns out, it might be worse than that. First of all, your classmate wasn't wrong. The dyes known as Yellow 5 and Yellow 6 have been linked to hives and hyperactivity in children. Sweden and Norway have banned the candies out of concern. The European Union will most likely be banning Skittles at the end of the year, having already swapped out some of the dye for more natural flavors. This is because of something called titanium dioxide, which can be found making the colors pop across the rainbow. Research linked titanium dioxide to damaged DNA, which can lead to cancer. While Europe may be ahead of the Skittles awareness curve, America is quickly catching up. In May of 2021, the Environmental Working Group asked the FDA to categorize titanium dioxide as toxic. And yes, before you ask, right now the FDA says it's okay to...
Food Drug Administration, they fucking hate black people. So wake up to that. The Food Drug Administration is a bunch of aliens and white people behind desks. They the KKK. They decide what you eat. They decide what you put in your body, what you buy from the store. I eat they food. I eat what they fucking eat. The motherfucker at FDA decide what we eat. I eat what the fuck they eat. Just so you'll know what the fuck to eat. Fuck the price, bitch. You want to spend a good price, you want to die. You want to get something cheap, or you want to die. I mean, damn. I mean, you want to, hold up. Do you want to spend some money, or do you want to die? That was the question. That's the question. Do you want to spend some money, or do you want to fucking die? We know now, we're God. We're fucking God. We can do so much. We're powerful, man. We're fucking God. Okay, we God, because we black, so we God. So, do you want to spend some fucking money on some healthy food at a better store, or do you want to fucking die? Better yet, would you rather grow some food of your own, learn how to do it in your house, or fucking die? It's not that hard. These white people growing food in their fucking closet. Potatoes, beans and shit. Peanuts, motherfuckers growing food in their house. Do you want to spend some money or grow some food or fucking die? You only get 3 options, man. Grow some food or spend some money or fucking die. The FDA are the KKK. The FDA are the KKK. And you can't fight these motherfuckers with the hands or a gun. They're sitting behind a desk in a government district with military and police.
Consume some of that chemical compound. You can taste the rainbow, but just in moderation. Right now, the FDA says it's okay to consume some of that chemical compound. You can taste the rainbow, but just in moderation. California is home to an ongoing lawsuit against Mars Inc., the parent company of Skittles. The lawsuit claims Skittles are not only toxic, but are unfit for human consumption. So maybe for now, play it safe. Just go have some Swedish fish instead. Ever looked at a piece of crusty French baguette, be it in cartoon or in real life, but let's be honest, it was probably in the hands of Pepe Le Pew, and think, I can't make a sandwich with that? As great as we talk about the invention of sliced bread, a lot of European countries have actually banned much of what you'd find on America's wide grocer shelves. That's because we make a lot of our bread not just with grain, but with a variety snack packs worth of additives. Like azodicarbonamide, for example, which helps bleach flour and strengthen dough. Fun fact about azodicarbonamide, it's also used in a spectrum of industrial products, including yoga mats. Downward dogs. The European Union is really against the idea that citizens eating yoga mat material and has banned their use in food products. Pork, the other white meat, is a staple of American meats, along with chicken, fish, and beef. From bacon to ham, hot dogs to pork chops. American meat eaters consume about 67 pounds of pig per person every year. Soo-wee, my heart is stopping. Don't get us wrong, other nations indulge in swine just as much, if not more, than Americans. So why doesn't the U.S. export scores of succulent bacon-bearing boars? Well, it turns out America adds a lot of chemicals during processing. Ractopamine in particular is used in many pig farms to raise porkier porkers. Ractopamine, which we put a dash of in a lot of foods, has been banned in 160 countries, which all consider the drug unsafe for human consumption. This in turn has led to a prohibition of pork exports across the world. The EU hasn't touched the stuff since outlawing ractopamine in 2009. China and Russia have been ractopamine-less since 2013. Maybe that's because ractopamine has the same effects as an
So we're going to go to another secret society section. We're just going to leave food alone right now, okay? Because this shit's pissing me the fuck off, alright? It's all true. It's all true, people. It's all fucking true. Look. Whatever I'm going to next, I don't even want you to know it yet. I don't even want you to know it yet. I don't even want you to know it yet. I don't even want you to know it yet. I don't even want you to know. No, no. about the Illuminati. You still have a suggestion?
Most proof I've ever seen that the Illuminati actually exist.
Well, I'm on the edge of my goddamn seat. Let's hear about it.
I know you know. I know you know.
That was the most convincing evidence you've ever seen, was Andrew Garfield making a joke? If you don't believe in radioactive spiders yet, I got some more Andrew Garfield content that's gonna blow your fucking mind. I really don't understand how people like this think that they have their third eye open and the rest of us are just asleep. I know I've said this before in another video, but you don't have to make up... I really don't understand how people like this think that they have their third eye open and the rest of us are just asleep. I know I've said this before in another video, but you don't have to make up an invisible shadow government to be mad at. You can just be mad at the actual government. And you want to know who benefits...
What era did you discover me and start?
Okay, no, that dude was obviously a reptile. Because that's where that comes from. Dude comes from fucking reptiles. Yeah.
Don't ever believe for a second.
Elephants, when they shit, they call it a dude. Our language comes from the reptiles and white people. Yeah. It's in the dictionary. A dude is an elephant shit. Reptiles do that with their tongue. It's called the all-mocking tongue because it represents reptiles, but nobody knows. That's why it's mocking people. All mocking because nobody fucking knew. You probably didn't know until I told you this is the tongue of it represents a reptile. The all mocking tongue. Not like some evil devil or some shit, but the reptiles that control our world.
Bill Gates. You an Illuminati? Are you worried about people like going nuts because this?
That's got screenshotted and that's everywhere. That's everywhere.
If the Illuminati's watching this, hit me up because I have been waiting for the person in the hood to come. I swear to God, I've been waiting for the high society to be like, you're one of us.
Don't they come get you in the middle of the night and take you to like a camp or something?
And then I think they pull your pants down and hit you with a stick in the butt.
Is that confirmed?
That's what I heard. Yeah. Illuminati. Bill Gates, Beyonce, Oprah, the infographic show. For years, rumors have swirled that powerful organization.
Oh man, what am I doing? What am I doing, Stream? What the fuck? I have anonymous content of my own. Wait, nah. This is not my shit. This is not my content. Never mind. We do not forgive, we do not forget.
Someone has broken it.
The hotel industry is a wild experience that helps you understand how disconnected the wildly wealthy are. I've seen the darker side of humanity, suicides, murders, spousal abuse, human trafficking. That shit stays with you for a long time. One weekend, a large group of around 60-ish people, they wanted to purchase out the entire hotel so they could just turn it into a giant orgy. The cost of that property was upwards of $250,000 for 2 nights at a time. That says
and a half-minute phone call between the FBI.
It's just old videos that they remade. And some new ones too.
Greetings, I'm Zuni Protocol. I've been a part of Anonymous for the past 6 years. Anonymous was born from a hacker culture which has evolved into a worldwide idea of freedom and global equality. With the help of social media, Anonymous gained volume and pace and exposed the flaws within our political and financial system to more and more people. They are waking up. They now see how corrupt our political system really is, and they can see the imbalance of our financial system. What we have in this country is a corporately owned government. Our environment and water supply is being raped in the name of share prices. Anonymous exists without borders, nationality, race, religion, or gender. It is the living, breathing consciousness of the free world. Every November the 5th, the Million Mask March is a sign that humanity around the world is crying out for change.
Not even worth talking to them. It's honestly, what? They're not going to listen. They're stuck in the system. A system that is designed to make us what? Believe that we have an illusion of choice. Pop it number 1, 2, or 3. No, I mean, I don't agree with politicians. I have no time for politicians.
That the right of the grass to regrow this week rather than in a week's time is more important than us exercising our democratic right to freely assemble. Then shame on you, you are meant to be facilitating this process.
I've become tired of living in communities where people turn against one another, where people look for differences, where people look to condemn immigrants, people of different sexual persuasions. This is a genuine opportunity for us to be inclusive, positive, buoyant and optimistic about change.
People have been infantilized, they've had the feeling of their own agency taken away from them, and most people do not recognize their own power. Most people don't believe that they have the ability to see what's going on and to change things, that they can speak up, that they can take action. We are not living in a democracy, if you mean by democracy that everybody has the ability to express what they want, or even the majority has the ability to express what they want. If you look at the policies favoured by the majority of the population, they are not the policies of the main political parties. The policies of the main political parties are very much influenced and dictated by the finance sector. So the simple answer would be not really, although it looks like it sometimes.
Would it be fair to say that we're living in an economic dictatorship?
Well, the ideal model of free market economics depends on the assumption that everybody comes to the market with roughly equal financial wealth, and then you get all these benefits which they talk about in your Economics 101 courses. Now, in fact, that system very quickly degrades into something very, very unequal, where the power of individuals creates a virtual dictatorship. It's not as if we've totally lost habeas corpus, but certainly the world is ruled for the benefit of the 1% more than the benefit of the 99%.
Hi, I'm Patrick Ireland and I'm a student at the London Film School. I previously studied politics at the University of Sheffield, where my interest in so-called fringe political movements was first aroused. Upon moving to London in 2014, I decided that I wanted to make a documentary which would focus on one of these movements, Anonymous.
A little bit of this chicken here, please. Yeah, and sweet and sour. Can of coffee, yeah? Yeah, can of coffee. I can make it 7 Up. Yeah. Cheers, thanks.
By their nature, Anonymous are a highly secretive organisation. Moreover, what distinguishes them from other political movements is the fact that they are non-hierarchical. They don't have a party whip. Members of Anonymous can express themselves freely without having to answer to some higher authority or ideology. However, the Million Mask March is a day when all of these factions can come together, united in one belief, that there is something fundamentally wrong with the society we're living in today. To learn more about Anonymous, I decided to meet with the organisers of this year's Million Mask March.
The good ideas, even if someone tries to censor them, they will never be forgotten. So today, we need to assure not only that we'll be entitled to a tomorrow, but we need to ensure that that tomorrow will be better than today. Regardless which country of the world, regardless what's your background, because you stand for the same justice, equality, and freedom as any of your fellow protesters. And you go to a march and you will see war refugees, you see poor people, you see the disabled, but you see rich people as well. You see leftists, you see people from the right, you see religious people, you see atheist people, you see people that are extremists, and people that sincerely don't care for nothing, but all have one thing in common. They hope better for humanity.
Yeah, I would hope for around 10,000 people. 10,000? I would hope about that. Every year when we see the progress, and last year they reported on 2,500 people. I think Personally, that was over 5,000. So this year, I think we've been promoting, not as last year, just before the march starting, we've been promoting for a whole year before that. So I think we can get much more people.
I think the first thing to say is actually it's quite an important statement to make that Anonymous have a politics, because I think there is sometimes a tendency to dismiss Anonymous as chaotic, as a meme, as just a kind of insurrectionary fashion. And I think actually that's quite dangerous, and we saw that, you know, after the riots in 2011 when people decided that they weren't political. I think that maybe just because you don't understand the politics doesn't mean it's not political. So people don't go out and buy a mask for no reason. Anons always want to focus on the here and now. You know, what are the problems around us that we can see? You know, homelessness, inequality, poverty. You know, all these problems are visible to us. We don't need the abstraction of politics or of capitalism to understand them. We can see them, and therefore we should address them as human beings.
Although insightful, meeting the organisers of the Million Mask March wasn't enough. I wanted to meet a face behind.
Inequality being a problem, that's the way it needs to be seen. It's a problem.
Behind the mask and experience on a personal level what it means to be in Anonymous.
I've always felt like I didn't really fit into society in any way, shape or form. There wasn't really a box that I fitted into. When I was 14, when I was a child I grew up in care, and I had a full care order from the age of 3, so I didn't really see much of my family. And I used to run away a lot, so I spent some time homeless on the streets, and I was abused in care. And then when I was 14, I started looking at how I could make a difference and play them at their own game. So I learned quite quickly that you needed to know their rules. You needed to know what, where other people in children's homes were maybe kicking off, being restrained and things like that. I was studying the ways I would get what I wanted. I mean, I had them giving me £50 a week clothing allowance and a trip then moved me to America by the end of it, I learned to play the system. But that led me to Parliament, where I stood up for the Charter of Children's Rights. And I also helped work with the Mayor of Coventry to do one for children in care. So that got me first interested in politics. And then I stood for the Lib Dems and I've stood for the Greens. And I've tried the political road, but it's bullshit.
Tell us a little bit more about your experiences on November the 5th.
Oh, it's like Christmas. It's like every Anonymous and activist Christmas. We all get together and it's so exciting, and I think that's the whole point in it. And the bonding, and you just know you're going to see all these people, and like months and months before it, everyone just puts, see you on the 5th, see you on the 5th. It's like, oh, the 5th, can't wait.
We'd go on protests, and we normally then marching for a specific topic, but at the Million Mask March, it's really just a bit of, we're here, there's nothing you can do about it. And we all have different issues that we're representing. But it's more of just two fingers up the establishment, really.
Running amok. Having a joke, having a laugh, getting together, talking, planning, plotting. We need garlic, onions.
Onions, okay. Onions,
I can't look at the right system.
I'm used to it. Thank you very much. Cheers, mate. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Right, now we need to get some garlic.
The first time we ever met, we were at, I can't remember, it was some march, it was a while ago. We were at this one march and the police had cordoned off like an area with ribbon. And I was messing around with it. I was like, we will not be held in, and playing with the ribbon. And I actually got it caught under a shopping trolley and tripped the person over. It happened to be me.
What a choice of food.
Your choice, man.
It's for family. If you remember, before you started seeing regular family things occur in the video, the narrator, which is him, for this specific video, which is a clip from an archive added to this video, is really just expressing how people who are a part of Anonymous could be anybody in society. It's our own secret society. Anyone can be a part of Anonymous. And our job is to not only make people in our area aware of the world we live in and who is controlling the system, the matrix that most people allow them to be themselves to be a part of. It's not only about enlightening other people, it's also about helping. It doesn't matter if we know each other or not. We don't have a code. We don't have to say, oh, I'm in Anonymous. It's about having a heart. It's about loving other human beings. You don't even have to know that you are a part of it. And it will come to you. And then you'll really be a part of it. But it really starts with just being a wondrous, a great person who keeps people aware of the world. You keep people aware of what's going on in the world, the truth, the real truth. And also helping the best way you can. Even if all you can do is just explain what you know. If that's the only help that you think you could give or you can actually give, at least give that, your knowledge. And don't try to be right or wrong. Just try to help. Of course you want to, try to give a good message by being correct, but it's ultimately, life is learning. Don't be upset when you're wrong. And when you're right, you're helping others. You're helping other people grow. It's about family. They don't know each other, but they sitting there having a meal together, talking and getting to know each other. And speaking about what's on their heart. This is one example of what we need to do as a community.
Hang on a minute.
No, honestly, just forget about it.
You believe we're slaves, right?
Yeah. Well, we are slaves because, we've got, especially with the Tory government, who are always going on about welfare and things like that. If you have not got a choice of whether to work or not, you are a slave. Yeah. If it is compulsory that you work in order to get any money, you are a slave. There's no two ways about it. If you think of people as, it's like the people farm, we're livestock.
Let's have
We're all human. Beyond the north, we're all human. We may have different opinions, we may have different goals, but above all, we make sure that someone is standing tall in order to preserve what humanity should be.
Preserving what humanity is supposed to be.
To revolution?
To revolution.
There we go.
Now, I'm a big fan of democracy. Democracy is a good thing, and it has to work when everybody takes part in it. There is a real opportunity here for young people to take back this space that has their name on it.
Mm-hmm. And in terms of sort of democracy, do you think democracy is working, or do you think there's a sort of problem with democracy at the moment when, there are protests in London almost every week? In fact, there's a protest going on in Parliament Square that was actually, it was stopped by the police. Do you think democracy is working when people are having to take to the streets to get their voices heard? And young people mostly as well.
I think, to be fair, democracy probably started because people took to the streets. The history of democracy has protest running through it, and that has to be a very healthy thing. Now, as we say, we can talk about the particular policies or the particular things that get people going, but actually I think today's young people are using a whole range of things to make their voices heard. Some of those are politics, and some of those are not.
Are they forced to do that though? I think that's the question. Are people forced to engage in politics through alternative means because they feel like voting and they feel like the system itself isn't geared up to help them, so they're having to go to different channels in order to be political? It's not the fact that they're sort of politically apathetic. They want to come involved in politics, but they're having to go through different channels in order to be political.
Well, I think actually the great thing about the modern world is there's a ton of channels available. So there are new technical ways of making your voice heard that simply didn't exist 30 years ago. That's actually a really exciting thing. Politics, if you like, in the street is an option today alongside politics on the web, alongside politics inside Parliament, alongside politics everywhere you'd care to look. There's a really exciting range of ways for young people to be involved in their community. Now, you define your community how you like, if it's your community online or if it's your community in a village or in a town or in a city or in a country. All of that, to me, is a very exciting evolution of politics, and I think that young people have every place at the heart of that. I would particularly encourage anyone watching this film, in the group that we're talking about, to get into formal politics. It won't change without you in it.
But what if the formal politics doesn't represent, their interests or, their ideas? I suppose it does go back to that idea of all the parties being the same. And it sort of leads on to the next question as well, which is, do you think there's like a problem with the system at the moment? Like, what kind of reforms are needed? Because a lot of young people especially would say that, neoliberal capitalism, what we're living under at this very moment, isn't working. And that it needs to be reformed somehow. I mean, would you agree with that? What kind of reforms are needed?
I actually met very few young people who use that word to describe any of that.
Neoliberal capitalism.
People just want to get on with their lives, and I think actually democracy has to be flexible enough to do all of that across words long and words short. Democracy means that people's needs have to be balanced, so you're not going to get the thing that you want tomorrow and just as you wanted it. You are going to have to work with what democracy does, but as I've said all the way through, democracy is there for everyone. If you don't like what you see in it, get in yourself and change it.
Well, some people will be doing that on the 5th of November. Have you ever heard of the Anonymous movement?
I have.
We've got actually this mask here.
Nice,
and,
nice.
Yeah, on the 5th of November, these guys will be marching through the streets of London.
Good.
And they're coming to Parliament to protest. Will you be there to hear their voices?
Well, I imagine I'll be in Parliament because it's my job as a member of Parliament, but I'll look forward to hearing what they've got to say.
Yeah, I mean, do you have any thoughts on Anonymous? Because, as I said...
As you can see, we're a world powerful group with representatives and advocates and so much more, okay? So, yes, I'm a part of Anonymous. I'm not as very deep, but I'm as deep enough to have access to certain things.
These are people we've spoken to, a few of them actually, and they don't believe democracy works. They have very serious concerns about democracy and about politicians. And I was just wondering if you had any comments on that.
Not specifically, I don't. I'll look forward to hearing what they've got to say. And just on the subject of being anonymous and being behind a mask,
I think a few of them are actually in Parliament Square right now.
Well, that's great. Yeah. That's really good for them. As we said earlier,
they were in Parliament Square, but then the police came in and wardened it off and stuff.
Well, as we said earlier in the interview, there are a ton of good ways in the modern world to make your views known. I don't get the luxury of being anonymous. I'm an MP. I'm available to my constituents in Norwich. If any of my constituents are amongst that, I'd be looking forward to hearing from them.
Okay.
So it's the night before the Million Mast March, and I'm both excited and apprehensive about it. This is the closest I'll get to experiencing what it's like to be an Anonymous. From what I've learned speaking to people within Anonymous, the Million Mast March isn't about one single issue. People are there for all kinds of reasons, protesting against what they perceive to be unfairness, inequality and corruption within our society. The march seems to be a more personal experience. You, as an individual, decide what you're protesting against, whether the person marching next to you believes it or not. The point is, though, that things do need to change, that we can't go on living like this. And the march is that statement. It's a statement of solidarity, it's a statement of unity, it's a statement that we're all in this together despite our differences.
And I suppose that in itself is the essence of revolution.
Are you ready?
No, are you ready?
We're about to have a revolution.
Have you guys seen this? Holy shit. Have you guys seen this? Oh my god, that's amazing. That's what the people look like.
Anonymous, Million, Mask March, all these alliteratively named, peculiar, shady, yet populist organisations are the best chance people have in civilised society of having their voices heard.
What would you say to people who say there is no alternative to the current system? That, you know, oh well, the system works, you know?
Well, I think that people that say the system works, work for the system. But people feel like, you know, if you're, you know, working at Exxon,
in an executive position, we've just turned over profits of 58 billion, then it's going really well, everything's cool, everything's fine. If you're an ecological activist concerned about the likely consequences of Exxon drilling in the Arctic or the continuing practice of fracking, then things aren't working so well. If you're one of the millions of people in this country living below the poverty line, things ain't working so well. If you're one of the Americans who had their house foreclosed as a result of the financial collapse in 2008 in America, things ain't working so well. The system works fine, and there for people that are benefiting from it, like any system, I suppose. But yeah, of course there are many alternatives. There are millions of different ways of organising society. My point is that any system that deconcentrates power is probably better for people today. We live in a situation where we live in a time where transparency is possible, where technological communication and participation is possible. My idea, I don't know, what I learned lately, listening to people that know more than me, was that collectivised, localised, decentralised authority is the way we should go.
And, you know, I think it's very hard for some people to imagine change coming about, especially the point you made about when you're voting for parties who don't represent you. So how can we change the system?
Get involved yourself in anything that's affecting your life. Get involved in creative direct action. If you think you're paying too much rent, if you think your bank are hustling you for your mortgage, get involved with other people who feel the same. If you're like the people on the New Era estate in East London, they've organised themselves to confront a big private development firm, Westbrook, and they are winning. They are going to win. It's not because of a politician, an MP or a councillor. They can't do anything because they all work for Westbrook or companies like it. You know, I'm being reductive, but if you want change, as dear old Gandhi says, be the change you want to be in the world, and that means participate, because it's fun and it feels better. One of the things we've lost as a result of this individualistic, materialistic culture is our sense of community and togetherness. One of the ways that we can regain that is through collective action and creating direct action together.
And do you think there'll be a revolution?
It's inevitable. It's inevitable.
Yeah.
It's only a timing issue now. It's happening quickly though. The establishment know it's coming. They're terrified. They're terrified.
Cheers. Thanks so much for
Thanks for coming to talk to me on the street corner.
So November the 5th wasn't the start of the revolution. But then again, history has taught us that revolutions happen over decades, sometimes even hundreds of years before real change comes about. But what this experience has taught me is that Anonymous do have something genuine to say about politics. They're not all conspiracy nuts and cyber thugs. Anonymous represent what I'm sure most of us feel deep down, that there is something wrong with the world, that humanity can do better for itself. And perhaps most importantly, they remind us that a better world is possible, a fairer world. And that, comrades, is a world worth fighting for. We have nothing to lose but our chains.
I played that specific video. I'm about to be wrapping this up soon. I played that specific video just to show how secret societies really are real, and they play a huge role in everything going on day to day. I'm literally a part of a secret society to fight against the more powerful secret societies that want to ruin everything for us lower class, so-called lower class people. The etymologies of these words are curses. The spiritual ramifications of calling oneself lower class, it's a curse. I'm not lower class. None of us are. Our minds are too powerful and too great to ever call ourselves something such as lower class just because of a fucking piece of paper that's painted green. You want to hate your fellow man, get your head out of your asshole. And stop eating your own shit. The reason why I played this video is to show there are people in London. There are people all over the world actually doing something. But here in America, Ain't nobody doing shit. We gotta come together and it gotta be us. Million mass march.
Pentagon announced that 3 U.S. troops had been dozens injured after a drone loaded with explosives struck them at a base in Jordan near the Syrian border. Now, none of that can be confirmed. The details, anyway, the location of the attack, and there's some question about that's true, but there is no question that American troops were killed yesterday. And the reaction to that, mixed with sadness, was highly political, in fact, even strategic. Within moments of this news breaking, Lindsey Graham, the Republican senator from South Carolina, called for blood. Quote, "Hit Iran now, hit them hard," he tweeted. Nikki Haley, of course, piled on. Here's what she posted to X. Quote, "As a military spouse, my heart breaks for the families who lost loved ones. This shows the barbaric nature of our enemies in Iran, and it shows that they would not be attacking our troops if Joe Biden weren't so weak in his treatment of Iran. We should retaliate with full force, the full force of American strength. It's the only way to prevent further war. If we do not, these attacks will continue." Interesting. All of this came immediately. They were joined by Wes Clark, the former presidential candidate and commander of NATO, and buffoons like John Cornyn, who apparently is a senator from Texas, etc., all saying the same thing. Let's go to war with Iran. They all said this, in both sides. Here's Nancy Pelosi on CNN telling you yesterday that anyone who is not for this, who would like, say, a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas, is working for Vladimir Putin.
For them to call for a ceasefire is Mr. Putin's message. Mr. Putin's message. Make no mistake, this is directly connected to what he would like to see. Same thing with Ukraine. It's about Putin's message. I think some of these protesters are spontaneous and organic and sincere. Some I think are connected to Russia, and I say that having looked at this for a long time now. As you
think some of these protests are Russian plants?
See, they're plants. I think some financing should be investigated, and I want to ask the FBI to investigate that.
It's hard for most people to believe that a person in his or her 80s could be evil, but she is evil, and she's speaking lies. What you heard is totally dishonest. But there's a point to the dishonesty, and that is a war with Iran, which people in Washington have been agitating for more than 20 years. So are we going to war with Iran? Are we already in a war with Iran? And if so, what are the consequences? Most Americans have no idea. It's not even something they're thinking about, but they should be.
In the end, most governments are run by a small group of people for their own benefit without reference to what the majority wants.
We are supporting a government, paying for the entire government, that has banned opposition parties, put opposition leaders in jail, shutting down free speech.
You can have a system that nobody actually supports except the people directly benefiting from it. This is the main thing I've learned in the past 5 years, that I'm 54, I've lived in this country my whole life, and because I, unlike everyone else in Washington, actually kind of believed in the basic premise of democracy, which is the majority rules. That's the most basic fact of democracy. The people run their own government. You often hear people say the news is full of lies. But most of the time, that's not exactly right. Much of what you see on television or read the New York Times is in fact true in the literal sense. It could pass one of the media's own fact checks. Lawyers would be willing to sign off on it. In fact, they may have. But that doesn't make it true. It's not true.
There are clergy who are being thrown in prison. Convents raided, nuns
kicked out, priests handcuffed, thrown in jail. So, I mean, on one level you think, well, it's not my country. You know, they do all kinds of barbaric things around the world. Can't be upset about all of them. Much more interested in what's happening in El Paso than I am in Kiev. You get a majority of people to vote for something, that's now the law. And that's totally untrue. You can put it in a ballot referendum, some judge will overturn it. Well, what about democracy? You can spend billions of dollars on a foreign policy theory that nobody actually supports.
If I tell you that a man has been unjustly arrested for armed robbery, that is not, strictly speaking, a lie. He may have been framed. At this point, there's been no trial, so no one can really say. But if I don't mention the fact that the same man has been arrested for the same 6 times before, am I really informing you? No, I'm not. I'm misleading you. And that's what the news media are doing in every story that matters, every day of the week, every week of the year.
A country without free speech is not a democracy. Free speech is a prerequisite to democracy. You can't have it without it. You can't have a dinner party without dinner. You can't have a democracy without free speech. Period. In the end, most governments are run by a small group of people for their own benefit without reference to what the majority wants. And I hate to believe that that's true in this country, but all the evidence suggests that it is. In fact, it's provable. You know how you prove it? Public opinion polling. Take a look at the latest Gallup poll. Pick a poll. What are the top 10 issues for people in the United States? And then compare those to the priorities of your leaders. So people are leaving Michigan because it's very hard to make a living here, and you're constantly hassled by a government that never stops growing and that is leeching off an economy that hasn't grown in decades, okay? That's the truth. Take a look at the priorities of the low IQ lunatic who's running your state. Gretchen Whitmer, who deserves zero respect, no respect. Her priorities are what? Putting you in jail if you, quote, misgender somebody? What percentage of the population of the state of Michigan, even southeastern Michigan, is on board with that as a top concern? It's like roughly around 0.1%, okay, in that range. The things that people care about, Gretchen Whitmer couldn't care less about. Because democracy isn't functioning. If democracy was functioning in America, in Michigan, in California, the District of Columbia where I live, the state of Maine, the state of Texas,
what's it like to work in a system like that? After more than 30 years in the middle of it, we could tell you stories. The best you can hope for in news business at this point is the freedom to tell the fullest truth that you can. But there are always limits. And you know that if you bump up against those limits often enough, you will be fired for it. That's not a guess, it's guaranteed. Every person who works in English language media understands that. The rule of what you can't say defines everything. It's filthy, really, and it's utterly corrupting. You can't have a free society if people aren't allowed to say what they think is true. Speech is the fundamental prerequisite for democracy. That's why it's enshrined in the first of our constitutional amendments.
we never, not only do we not have that conversation was literally banned. Now it's in the guidelines of most of the big social media companies, you can't have that conversation. So I would just...
Understands that. The rule of what you can't say defines everything. It's filthy, really, and it's utterly corrupting. You can't have a free society if people aren't allowed to say what they think is true. Speech is the fundamental prerequisite for democracy. That's why it's enshrined in the first of our constitutional amendments.
We never, not only do we not have that conversation was literally banned. Now it's in the guidelines of most of the big social media companies, you can't have that conversation. So I would make a couple of points. And the most obvious one is, any country that doesn't allow a free discussion of the process by which its leaders are elected is not a democracy, by definition.
How do you take 20,000 children in the middle of New York City without anybody seeing? They are being put into buses. They are given certain clothes. Some of them were taken out in boxes. You can call them crates. You can call them caskets of dead people, although they were live children in there.
I mean, we could talk about tunnels all we want. The non-believers will say, where's the proof?
When I go into the tunnels, I can't take my phone, and if you're going to do it, the psychopaths will eliminate you. So some pictures I saw that are real, and I was surprised to see them.
But there are many children down there.
Yes. But they're not in the main rooms. They're in the hidden rooms within the walls of the tunnels.
Do you have an idea of the number of children that we're talking about?
It's huge. It's numbers you can't comprehend.
It's a dangerous time to be a woman or a child right now. God damn.
And yet at the same time, and this is the amazing thing, the undeniably big topics, the ones that will define our future, get virtually no discussion at all. War, civil liberties, emerging science, demographic change, corporate power, natural resources. When was the last time you heard a legitimate debate about any of those issues? It's been a long time. Debates like that are not permitted in American media. Both political parties and their donors have reached consensus on what benefits them, and they actively collude to shut down any conversation about it. Suddenly, the United States looks very much like a one-party state. That's a depressing realization, but it's not permanent. Our current orthodoxies won't last. They're brain. Nobody actually believes them. Hardly anyone's life is improved by them. This moment is too inherently ridiculous to continue, and so it won't. The people in charge know this. That's why they're hysterical and aggressive. They're afraid. They've given up persuasion, they're resorting to force. But it won't work. When honest people say what's true, calmly and without embarrassment, they become powerful. At the same time, the liars who've been trying to silence them shrink, and they become weaker. That's the iron law of the universe. True things prevail. Where can you still find Americans saying true things? There aren't many places left, but there are some, and that's enough. As long as you can hear the words, there is hope.
Woo! Well, just to put this in context, it's not just like you have boutique, weird right-wing views, and that's how they want you to feel. Like, oh, you're an extremist. Really? I'm an extremist? I'm going to let 7 million people into our country illegally, whose names we don't know?
By the way, isn't it? It's so interesting, and narcissists are this way. The projection involved. It's like whatever it is they're doing, and I mean at a precise level, is exactly what they accuse you of doing. You're attacking democracy. Really, I like democracy. Democracy would give people without money and without a TV show some voice in how they are governed. Therefore, I'm for it. And they want exactly the opposite. So the middle class in America, which has been not the majority since 2015, an anniversary that nobody noticed, has less economic power than it's ever had. That's why Trump got elected, in my view. And now it has less political power than it's ever had. So if you are taking power away from large segments of your population, you are by definition attacking democracy. That's exactly what you're doing. There's no other name for it. So that's the first thing I noticed. In the name of defending democracy, we took away the things we need to have democracy, which is our core freedoms guaranteed in the Bill of Rights, just as in our war for democracy, we are supporting a government, paying for the entire government, that has banned opposition parties, put opposition leaders in jail, shutting down free speech, now shutting down an election, and putting dissident priests in prison. It's such a democracy they don't have elections anymore. That's how pure a democracy it is. But the second thing, and what's I think more applicable to this conversation, I learned, is that their response was the tell. If you want to know what they care about, if you want to know what's important, listen to how they respond when you say something unapproved about it. Amazingly, as of tonight, there aren't many platforms left that allow free speech. The last big one remaining in the world, the only one, is Twitter, where we are now. Twitter has long served as the place where our national conversation incubates and develops. Twitter is not a partisan site. Everybody's allowed here, and we think that's a good thing.
And yet, for the most part, the news that you see analyzed on Twitter comes from media organizations that are themselves thinly disguised propaganda outlets. You see it on cable news, you talk about it on Twitter. The result may feel like a debate, but actually the gatekeepers are still in charge. We think that's a bad system. We know exactly how it works, and we're sick of it. Starting soon, we'll be bringing a new version of the show we've been doing for the last 6.5 years to Twitter. We bring some other things too, which we'll tell you about. But for now, we're just grateful to be here. Free speech is the main right that you have. Without it, you have no others. So you have religious freedom or freedom of speech or freedom of assembly as long as you stay within the lines, but if you express an unapproved view, then you go to jail. But that's freedom, isn't it? You do exactly what I tell you to do, or else I imprison you. Is that the freedom that you recognize? No, that's insane. And so that irritated me, and I said, well, but don't you think as a Christian leader you should say something when Christian clergy are imprisoned for their views? No. And how dare you say that? And this person was joined by a chorus of people on the right. Yeah, shut up. Shut up. National Review wrote a piece this morning. Shut up, it's bigoted to notice that Christian clergy are being imprisoned. And my view would be, you know, maybe you care, maybe you don't, but if you're a Christian leader and Christians are going to jail for their views, you are required to say something. And if you don't, you're not much of a Christian leader. And by the way, the person I was speaking to is a person, I think, of real faith and of decency. Like, I would let him babysit my kids. Not for long, but for dinner. I mean, I don't think he's like an evil person. He's not a secret serial on Long Island or something that I know of. But he, with a straight face, told me this. And he said, but what really needs, and I say this as a Christian leader, is more cluster bombs. And I thought, you know who it was. And I thought to myself, more cluster bombs. Now, I am not a Bible scholar. But I'm pretty sure, having read 4 out of 4 Gospels, that like Luke 17 doesn't call for shower cluster bombs on the children. In fact, I'm just going to go out on a limb as a non-theologian and say the overriding message of the New Testament is bring peace.
But there's a more modern motivation for Xi Jinping, which is, wait a minute. If I now have control over that island, I have control over the entire United States.
Wow.
We are actually the ones responsible for driving that Russia-China military alliance. It's complicated because a lot of it relies on know-how. So it's not just raw production capability, but it's the know-how of how you actually make it. Because I think that requires pulling people from, you know, TSMC in Taiwan to the United States. And I think that that's something that we should be intensely focused on right now. Nobody in either party is talking about this right now. The Russia-China alliance is the single greatest threat that the U.S. actually faces today. And we are pushing Russia closer into China's arms by actually continuing to arm.
We now have Putin's back to the wall. Well, Putin is the world's leading superpower. We aren't. He's got 1,000 more than we do, and they're much better than ours. They can down ours. We can't down theirs.
Against the backdrop of the reality that we face, which is we are driving Russia further into China's arms as we are further strengthening what I see as the single greatest military threat that the United States certainly has faced since World War II. You could make a case that the United States has ever faced if you actually look at where this could be going.
His words echo like an international alarm, resounding across borders, prompting us to reevaluate the intricate dance of global politics and its profound consequences.
We get something greater in return, which is that Putin, in that case, would have to exit his military partnership with China and remove the weapons from Kaliningrad, which border Poland, and get the Russian military out of Cuba and Venezuela and the rest. And this is a deal that Putin should do because he ends up winning, he gets things that he doesn't have today, but it secures American interests too.
We have pushed Russia into the embrace of China, which is the worst foreign policy outcome imaginable. It is not good for the national security of our country.
We are actually the ones responsible for driving that Russia-China military alliance. And so one of my advantages is that I am not some people say, well, you don't have foreign policy experience. And I'll say, yes, I don't have foreign policy experience. And that may actually be an advantage in bringing a rational American.
So you're not responsible for the war in Iraq.
Yeah,
that's
no.
a bad thing.
Yeah, well, I think we could debate whether it's a bad thing or not, but if you break the car, you don't turn over the keys to the guy who broke it. That's what I would say. And so, I think that we are on our way to turning into another Iraq or another Vietnam all over again, except this time I think it could be worse because there's weapons at issue. There's an alliance with China, an economy that we depend on for our modern way of life, that's also at issue. And the irony is, I think a lot of people today believe that somehow world leaders make their decisions by analogy. So Xi Jinping is going to say, oh, well, because Vladimir Putin walked away with a piece of that he didn't have, that somehow means that by analogy, I'm going to be judged more favorably if I go after Taiwan and walk away with a piece of Taiwan that I didn't have, when I basically don't think that's how autocrats or any global leader should, or at least does, make decisions. To the contrary, I think what's actually more likely to happen is we're going to put Xi Jinping in a more likely position to go after Taiwan sooner, because he knows that Russia's in his camp, because they're in a more solid alliance with the United States efforts. Yeah, on Taiwan, you mean? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think that that's mostly right. Now, my view is, this is also another heresy that I think have recently managed to cross last night, which is that I think our commitments to go to war in that situation, or to at least even militarily engage in that situation, should change if it's before or after we have semiconductor independence in this country.
My name is Sister Monica Claire. I do feel like TikTok helps me to achieve the mission that God put me on this earth to do. Everything I do is in service